Welcome to Wildlife for Sleep. This channel is a quiet place where nature, wildlife, and ancient worlds come together to help you relax, unwind, and drift into deep rest. If you enjoy calm documentaries like this and find them helpful for sleep or relaxation, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share your thoughts in the comments. Your support helps this channel grow and allows me to create more peaceful content for you. Now get comfortable and let the journey begin. Long before human memory, before language, before the idea of time was ever counted, the earth belonged to another kind of ruler. The air was heavier, the continents were restless, and life moved according to instincts far older than fear. This was the age of the dinosaurs. Their story is not one of monsters, but of survival, adaptation, birth, struggle, dominance, and finally, silence. The word dinosaur comes from ancient language meaning terrible lizard. Yet this name barely touches the reality of what they were. Dinosaurs were not a single creature, nor a single form. They were a vast family of life that ruled the planet for more than 160 million years. That span of time is so long that it dwarfs the entire existence of humanity. If Earth's history were a single day, dinosaurs would dominate most of the afternoon and evening, while humans would appear only in the final seconds before midnight. Dinosaurs first emerged during the Triassic period, roughly 230 million years ago, in a world recovering from the greatest mass extinction Earth had ever known. The land was barren in many places, forests were thin, and life was cautiously rebuilding itself. From this fragile world rose small, lightly built creatures that walked on two legs, moved quickly, and breathed efficiently. They were not giants yet. They were survivors. What made dinosaurs different from other reptiles was not just size or shape, but biology. Their legs were positioned directly beneath their bodies, unlike the sprawling stance of lizards and crocodiles. This allowed them to move with efficiency, endurance, and speed. Their bones were strong yet light. Their lungs were advanced, capable of supporting active lifestyles. These traits allowed dinosaurs to spread across every continent on Earth. As millions of years passed, dinosaurs diversified into countless forms. Some remained small and agile, hunting insects and small animals. Others grew massive, feeding on plants and shaping entire ecosystems with their movements. Forests bent beneath their weight. Rivers were redirected by their migrations. The land itself responded to their presence. Dinosaurs lived in a world divided into three great eras: the Triassic, the Jurassic, and the Cretaceous. Each era reshaped them. During the Jurassic period, dinosaurs reached extraordinary sizes. Long-necked giants fed from treetops, their bodies supported by pillar-like legs. Predators followed them, balanced on powerful hind limbs, their senses sharp, their instincts refined by generations of survival. This was not a silent world. Dinosaurs communicated. They likely used calls, bellows, low-frequency sounds, and body language. Herds moved together, protecting the young. Nests were built. Eggs were laid carefully, sometimes guarded, sometimes buried, sometimes warmed by vegetation and sun. Fossil evidence shows that many dinosaurs were attentive parents, returning to nesting grounds year after year. Contrary to old beliefs, dinosaurs were not slow, dim creatures. Many were intelligent, curious, and social. Some hunted in groups. Others solved environmental challenges with behavior rather than brute force. Feathers appeared on many species, first for insulation and display, later for flight in their descendants. Birds, in fact, are not separate from dinosaurs. They are dinosaurs, still alive, still breathing, still watching the world with ancient eyes. The climate of the dinosaur age changed repeatedly. Warm periods gave way to cooler ones. Seas rose and fell. Volcanoes reshaped the land. Through it all, dinosaurs adapted. Those that failed vanished quietly, replaced by new forms better suited to the changing world. Evolution was relentless, patient, and exact. Yet even dominance has limits. By the late Cretaceous period, dinosaurs were at their peak. The planet was alive with them. From the smallest feathered hunters to the largest plant eaters ever to walk the earth, dinosaurs filled every role nature could offer. They had no warning. No instinct prepared them for what was coming. High above the planet, a massive asteroid traveled silently through space, and the world was about to change forever. The rise of giants and the shaping of a world. The early dinosaurs did not inherit a peaceful world. The Triassic Earth was unstable, scarred by extinction, and filled with competition. Other reptiles dominated the land. Massive amphibians guarded the waterways, and crocodile-like predators ruled the rivers and floodplains. Dinosaurs were only one experiment among many. Their survival was not guaranteed. What set them apart was endurance. While other reptiles relied on short bursts of energy, dinosaurs could move longer, hunt farther, and migrate across vast distances. This advantage slowly shifted the balance of power. As climates changed and continents drifted, dinosaurs endured where others failed. By the end of the Triassic period, a second great extinction reshaped life on Earth. Many competing reptiles disappeared. Dinosaurs survived, and suddenly the planet was theirs. The Jurassic period followed, and with it came an explosion of size, form, and dominance. Forests grew dense and tall, filled with ancient conifers and cycads. Oxygen levels were high. Food was abundant. Dinosaurs responded by growing larger than anything the land had ever known. Long-necked plant eaters emerged as living towers. Their bodies were built like moving bridges of bone and muscle. Massive stomachs processed endless vegetation. Their long tails balanced their weight, while their necks allowed them to feed without moving their bodies. A single step from one of these giants could reshape the ground beneath it. These herbivores were not defenseless. Many traveled in herds, their numbers forming living walls against predators. Others evolved armor, thick skin, bony plates, spikes, and clubs. Survival favored those who could resist attack, and evolution answered with innovation. Predators, in turn, evolved alongside them. Carnivorous dinosaurs became precise killing machines, not reckless beasts. Their senses sharpened, their jaws strengthened. Teeth evolved into serrated blades designed to slice flesh efficiently. Hunting was not constant violence. It was patience, calculation, and timing. A failed hunt meant wasted energy. Success meant survival. Dinosaurs occupied every level of the ecosystem. Small, quick species darted through undergrowth, feeding on insects and eggs. Medium-sized hunters stalked forests and plains. Giants ruled open landscapes. Even the skies began to change as feathered dinosaurs experimented with gliding and early flight. Feathers were not just for flying. They insulated bodies, displayed dominance, attracted mates, and communicated status. Colors and patterns likely varied across species, though fossils preserve only hints. These were not dull gray creatures. They were living, breathing animals shaped by beauty as much as necessity. Reproduction was central to dinosaur life. Nesting grounds became critical locations, returned to across generations. Eggs were laid carefully, often in large numbers, balancing risk with survival. Some young were born helpless, relying on parents. Others emerged ready to run. Fossils show footprints of juveniles moving alongside adults, proof of family structures. Dinosaurs experienced injury, illness, and aging. Bones show signs of healed fractures, infections, and stress. Survival was harsh but not brief. Some individuals lived long lives, growing slowly, adapting year after year. Life was not constant battle. It was routine movement, feeding, resting, and growth. The world itself responded to dinosaurs. Plants evolved tougher leaves. Forests adapted to grazing pressure. Even the soil changed under the repeated passage of massive herds. Dinosaurs were not just inhabitants of Earth, they were architects of it. Yet the Jurassic Age would not last forever. As continents continued to drift, climates shifted once again. Seas rose. New land bridges formed. The Cretaceous period approached, bringing new challenges, new species, and new destinies. Dinosaurs would face their greatest diversity, and unknowingly their final chapter. The Cretaceous world and the peak of dinosaur life, the Cretaceous period, arrived not as a sudden shift, but as a slow transformation of the planet. Continents that were once locked together drifted farther apart, creating new coastlines, shallow seas, and isolated land masses. These changes reshaped climates and ecosystems, and dinosaurs responded in the only way life ever has, by adapting or disappearing. This era became the longest chapter of dinosaur history, lasting nearly 80 million years. During this time, dinosaurs reached their greatest diversity. They filled forests, plains, river valleys, coastal regions, and even polar environments. Some lived under months of darkness. Others endured extreme heat. Dinosaurs were no longer just survivors, they were specialists. Plant life changed dramatically during the Cretaceous. Flowering plants appeared for the first time, spreading rapidly across the land. These new plants produced fruits, seeds, and varied leaves, reshaping the diets of plant-eating dinosaurs. In response, herbivores evolved new teeth, jaws, and feeding strategies. Some developed beaks for cropping vegetation. Others evolved complex teeth designed for grinding tough plant matter efficiently. With new food sources came new behaviors. Herds grew larger. Migration patterns became more complex, driven by seasonal growth of plants. Fossilized trackways show hundreds of individuals moving together, sometimes adults guiding juveniles, sometimes young moving in protected centers. These were not random gatherings. They were organized, learned behaviors passed from one generation to the next. Predators adapted as well. Hunting became more strategic. Some carnivorous dinosaurs relied on ambush, blending into their surroundings. Others used speed and endurance to wear down prey. Evidence suggests certain species hunted in coordinated groups, increasing their chances against larger herbivores. Intelligence mattered. Experience mattered. Survival favored the aware. Feathers became widespread during this time. Many dinosaurs were now covered partially or fully in feathers, serving multiple purposes. Insulation allowed some species to live in cooler regions. Display feathers helped attract mates or intimidate rivals. Some small dinosaurs developed wings capable of true flight, giving rise to the earliest birds. These creatures bridged earth and sky, feeding on insects, seeds, and small animals. Dinosaurs raised their young in a dangerous world. Eggs were vulnerable to predators, floods, and environmental changes. Nesting strategies varied. Some dinosaurs buried eggs. Others built open nests. Some guarded them fiercely. Fossil evidence shows repeated use of the same nesting sites, indicating memory, learning, and possibly social cooperation. Life for young dinosaurs was perilous. Few survived to adulthood. Growth rates varied by species, but many grew rapidly to escape vulnerability. Bones reveal growth rings much like trees, showing years of hardship and abundance. These rings tell silent stories of droughts, cold seasons, and times of plenty. Dinosaurs interacted constantly with their environment. Rivers flooded, burying bones in sediment. Volcanoes darkened skies with ash. Storms reshaped coastlines. Life adapted again and again. Extinction was always present, quietly removing species that could not keep pace with change. Despite these challenges, the Cretaceous world thrived. Dinosaurs dominated every major land ecosystem. They had survived millions of years of planetary change. There was no sign within their world that this dominance would end. But Earth is not guided by fairness or foresight. Far beyond the atmosphere, a slow-moving shadow crossed the path of the planet. It had been traveling through space for millions of years, unnoticed, unstoppable. Dinosaurs continued their lives unaware, feeding, nesting, migrating, while time counted down toward an event that would rewrite the rules of life forever. Daily life, intelligence, and survival to understand dinosaurs fully. It is not enough to imagine their size or strength. Their true story lived in daily routines, how they woke, fed, moved, learned, and survived in a world that demanded constant awareness. Most of a dinosaur's life was not spent fighting or fleeing, but existing within a complex web of behavior shaped by millions of years of evolution. Dinosaurs lived according to rhythms set by light, temperature, and availability of food. As the sun rose, herbivores began moving toward feeding grounds, often following paths used for generations. These routes were not random. They avoided unstable ground, followed water sources, and led toward seasonal vegetation. Fossilized footprints reveal repeated use of the same paths over thousands of years, evidence of memory and inherited behavior. Feeding was not simple grazing. Many plant-eating dinosaurs selected specific plants, avoiding toxic species and favoring those that provided maximum nutrition. Their jaws and teeth were tools refined for efficiency. Some sliced leaves cleanly, others crushed and ground tough fibers. Large stomachs and specialized digestion allowed them to extract energy from plants most animals could not survive on. Carnivorous dinosaurs spent much of their time conserving energy. Hunting was risky. Injury could mean death. Predators watched, listened, and waited. They learned the habits of prey, where herds moved when young were most vulnerable, when the weak lagged behind. Intelligence was a survival trait, not a luxury. Dinosaurs were not solitary by default. Many species lived in groups, gaining protection, knowledge, and reproductive advantage. Herd behavior reduced individual risk. Group vigilance increased survival. Communication played a central role. Though their exact sounds are lost to time, anatomy suggests a wide range of vocalizations, from low rumbles felt through the ground to sharp calls that echoed across plains. Body language mattered. Posture, movement, color, and feather display conveyed dominance, warning, or readiness to mate. These signals reduced unnecessary conflict. Fighting was dangerous. Avoiding it was often the smarter choice. Reproduction shaped every stage of dinosaur life. Mating seasons were driven by climate and food availability. Displays became more elaborate. Crests, horns, feathers, and coloration played roles in attraction and competition. These features were not accidents of nature. They were messages written into anatomy. Nesting demanded careful planning. Locations were chosen for warmth, safety, and access to food. Some species returned to the same nesting grounds year after year, suggesting long-term memory. Parents guarded eggs, adjusted nest materials, and in some cases fed hatchlings after birth. This level of care increased survival, even in a hostile world. Young dinosaurs learned quickly or died. From their first steps, they followed adults, mimicking behavior. They learned which plants to eat, where to move, when to hide. Play may have existed as a way to practice survival skills. Fossil evidence of juveniles moving together suggests social learning was essential. Dinosaurs also faced illness and injury. Bones show signs of infection. Healed fractures and deformities survived for years. This indicates resilience and possibly social support. An injured animal surviving long-term suggests it was not abandoned immediately. The dinosaur world was not peaceful, but it was balanced. Predators kept herbivore populations in check. Herbivores shaped plant growth. Small animals cleaned ecosystems. Every role mattered. Dinosaurs were not chaotic rulers. They were part of a functioning, evolving system. Yet balance is fragile. Environmental changes continued silently. Sea levels shifted. Temperatures fluctuated. Volcanic activity increased in some regions. These changes stressed ecosystems slowly, subtly. Dinosaurs adapted as they always had, but unseen forces were aligning beyond the horizon. Life continued as it always had, unaware that time itself was narrowing. The last age of dinosaurs and a world under pressure as the final chapters of the Cretaceous period unfolded. The dinosaur world remained vast and alive, but it was no longer as stable as it once had been. The land still echoed with the movement of herds and the calls of predators, yet subtle stresses were accumulating beneath the surface of everyday life. These changes were not sudden disasters. They were slow pressures, barely noticeable within a single lifetime but powerful across generations. The climate of Earth had begun to shift again. Temperatures fluctuated more sharply between seasons. Some regions experienced prolonged droughts, while others faced frequent flooding. Forests expanded in certain areas and vanished in others. For dinosaurs adapted to specific environments, these changes demanded constant adjustment. Migration routes grew longer. Feeding grounds became less predictable. Survival required flexibility. At the same time, the planet itself grew restless. Massive volcanic eruptions occurred in what is now India, releasing enormous quantities of gas and ash into the atmosphere. These eruptions lasted not years but tens of thousands of years, slowly altering air quality and climate. Sunlight dimmed slightly, temperatures wavered, plant growth patterns changed. Herbivores felt this first and predators soon followed. Dinosaurs responded as they always had, by adapting. Some species shifted diets. Others altered migration timing. Body sizes changed gradually. Feathers became more useful for insulation in cooler regions. Evolution continued its quiet work, shaping bodies and behaviors without awareness or intent. Despite these challenges, dinosaurs still ruled the land. Eggs continued to hatch. Young continued to grow. Forests still trembled beneath massive footsteps. There was no sign from within their world that extinction was approaching. Life does not recognize its ending while it is still alive. Then, in a single moment measured not in years but in seconds, everything changed. A massive asteroid, several kilometers wide, struck the Earth with unimaginable force. It hit near what is now the Yucatan Peninsula. The impact released more energy than billions of nuclear weapons combined. The ground vaporized. Shockwaves raced across continents. Oceans rose in towering waves. Forests ignited from falling debris heated by the atmosphere itself. The sky darkened as dust, ash, and debris filled the air. Sunlight disappeared. Temperatures plummeted. Photosynthesis slowed, then stopped. Plants died first. Herbivores followed, starved in a world without growth. Predators soon faced the same fate. Food chains collapsed not through violence but through absence. For months, possibly years, the earth remained dim and cold. Acid rain fell. Rivers changed chemistry. Habitats vanished. The world dinosaurs had shaped for millions of years became unrecognizable. Not all life died. Small animals that could burrow, hide, or eat varied food survived. Creatures that needed less energy endured where giants could not. Birds, feathered descendants of dinosaurs, found refuge in the skies and forests. The age of non-avian dinosaurs ended, not with a battle but with silence. Their extinction was not a failure. It was a consequence of living on a planet governed by forces beyond adaptation. Dinosaurs had succeeded for longer than almost any large land animal in history. Their end was sudden, but their legacy was not. The Earth began to heal. Life returned slowly. New species emerged. Mammals rose into roles once held by giants. But beneath forests and stone, dinosaur bones remained, silent witnesses waiting to tell their story. After the silence, a world without dinosaurs. When the dust finally began to settle, the Earth that emerged was unfamiliar even to life itself. The skies slowly cleared. Dim light returned. Rain washed ash from the land, but the world was quieter now. The massive footsteps were gone. The deep calls no longer echoed across plains and forests. The age of dinosaurs had ended, and a new chapter of life cautiously began. In the immediate aftermath, survival was rare and fragile. Ecosystems had collapsed. Forests were reduced to scattered patches. Food chains were broken at every level. Life persisted only where flexibility allowed it, among small creatures that could hide, burrow, scavenge, or eat almost anything. Size, once an advantage, had become a liability. Mammals, long confined to the shadows, began to change. They had lived alongside dinosaurs for millions of years, mostly small and nocturnal, avoiding attention. Now, with open ecological space, they diversified rapidly. Body sizes increased, diets expanded, behavior adapted to daylight. The absence of dinosaurs did not create peace, it created opportunity. Birds, the living descendants of dinosaurs, survived because of traits inherited from their ancestors. Feathers provided insulation. Small size reduced energy needs. Flight allowed escape and exploration. As forests slowly returned, birds filled the skies, carrying dinosaur lineage forward in living form. Every wingbeat was a continuation of ancient history. Plants recovered first, reshaping the land again. Flowering plants spread rapidly, supported by insects that had also survived. These plants stabilized soil, altered climates locally, and provided new food sources. Life rebuilt itself layer by layer, not in the image of the past but in response to the present. Beneath the surface, the record of extinction was being written in stone. Layers of sediment trapped iridium from the asteroid impact. Fossils disappeared abruptly at a clear boundary in the rock record. Above it, new forms appeared. This boundary became a line in Earth's memory, a moment when dominance ended and possibility began. The absence of dinosaurs reshaped evolution. Without towering herbivores, forests grew denser in some regions. Without massive predators, prey species evolved differently. The planet did not replace dinosaurs, it reinvented itself. Life moved forward, not backward. Yet dinosaurs were never truly gone. Their influence remained in the structure of ecosystems, in the evolution of birds, in the very soil shaped by millions of years of movement. Even today, when a bird takes flight, it carries with it the legacy of creatures that once ruled the earth. The silence after dinosaurs was not an ending. It was a pause between ages, one that allowed the world to become what it is now. The bones that remembered, discovery and understanding for millions of years after the extinction. Dinosaurs existed only as echoes locked inside stone. Rivers shifted, mountains rose, continents continued their slow drift, and above it all, life changed again and again. Beneath the ground, however, the remains of dinosaurs waited, undisturbed, unrecognized, patient beyond comprehension. The first human encounters with dinosaur fossils were not moments of understanding. Large bones were found and misinterpreted as remains of giants, dragons, or mythical beasts. Without context, without deep time, the truth remained hidden. These discoveries inspired legends, not science. Only in the modern age did humans begin to recognize what they were uncovering. As geology developed and the age of the Earth expanded beyond myth, fossils became messages from a distant past. Each bone, each tooth, each footprint carried information about size, movement, diet, injury, and growth. Fossilization itself was rare and selective. Most dinosaurs never became fossils at all. Only those buried quickly by sediment, mud, sand, volcanic ash, had a chance of preservation. Over time, minerals replaced organic material, turning bone into stone while preserving shape and structure. What survived was never a full story, but fragments of one. Paleontology emerged as a discipline dedicated to reconstructing lost worlds from these fragments. Excavation became a careful process, measured in centimeters and patience. Bones were mapped exactly as they lay. Their positions told stories of death by flood, collapse, predation, or old age. A scattered skeleton spoke differently than one preserved intact. In laboratories, fossils were cleaned grain by grain. Under microscopes, growth rings inside bones revealed age and life history. Bite marks showed predator-prey interactions. Healed fractures revealed survival after injury. Fossilized nests and eggs told stories of reproduction and care. Even fossilized dung revealed diet and digestion. Footprints became some of the most powerful evidence of behavior. Trackways showed herds moving together. Different sizes of prints revealed adults and juveniles traveling side by side. Some tracks showed limping animals. Others showed sudden turns, evidence of panic, pursuit, or escape. As discoveries accumulated, dinosaurs transformed in the human imagination. They were no longer slow, dim reptiles. They became dynamic, warm-blooded or near-warm-blooded animals, many feathered, many social, many intelligent in ways suited to their world. Science replaced myth, but wonder remained. Technology expanded understanding further. Imaging techniques allowed scientists to look inside fossils without damaging them. Computer models reconstructed muscles and movement. Chemical analysis revealed diet and even color patterns in feathers. Each advancement brought dinosaurs closer to life again, not as fantasies, but as real animals shaped by natural law. Museums became gateways to deep time. Skeletons stood assembled not as trophies but as lessons. Children and adults stood beneath towering frames, confronted with the scale of life that once existed. These bones did not inspire fear alone, they inspired humility. Dinosaurs were no longer rulers of the earth, but they became humanity learned about extinction, adaptation, climate change, and resilience. Their story became a mirror, reflecting both the power and vulnerability of life on this planet. Living legacy. Dinosaurs in the modern world. Dinosaurs did not vanish completely. Their presence did not end at the boundary of stone and ash. Instead, it changed form. The world that followed carried their influence forward, quietly, persistently, in ways that only deep time can produce. Birds are the most visible continuation of dinosaur life. Their skeletons retain the same basic structure: hollow bones, three-fingered limbs transformed into wings, fused bones for strength and balance. Feathers, once tools for warmth and display, became instruments of flight. Metabolism, behavior, and even nesting habits reflect an ancestry that reaches back into the Jurassic and Cretaceous worlds. When birds build nests, guard eggs, migrate across continents, or communicate with complex calls, they echo behaviors refined by dinosaurs over millions of years. These are not coincidences. They are inheritances. Beyond birds, dinosaurs shaped the planet itself. Their long dominance altered plant evolution, soil structure, and nutrient cycles. Massive herbivores influenced which plants survived and which adapted defenses. Predators shaped prey behavior and population balance. Even after extinction, the ecological templates dinosaurs built influenced how new life evolved. Human understanding of dinosaurs has also reshaped how we view the planet. Dinosaurs taught humanity that extinction is real, irreversible, and often sudden. They revealed that dominance offers no immunity. Survival depends on adaptability, but even adaptability has limits when planetary forces align. The asteroid impact that ended the age of dinosaurs became a lesson written into science, warning of external threats and environmental fragility. Climate change, volcanic activity, and ecosystem collapse are no longer abstract ideas. They are events that have happened before, with consequences measured in millions of years. Dinosaurs also changed how humans think about time. Their existence expanded perspective beyond generations and civilizations into eras and epochs. They remind us that Earth is not static. It is a living system, always shifting, always rewriting its own story. In popular culture, dinosaurs continue to live in imagination, sometimes exaggerated, sometimes misunderstood, but always powerful. They inspire curiosity, fear, creativity, and scientific pursuit. Yet the real dinosaurs were more remarkable than fiction. They lived, adapted, suffered, and vanished without ever knowing they would become symbols. Modern science continues to uncover new species, new behaviors, and new connections. Each fossil discovery adds detail, complexity, and humility to what we think we know. The story of dinosaurs is not finished. It is still being written from stone, from feathers, from bone chemistry and ancient tracks preserved in mud. Their legacy is not only in museums or textbooks. It is in every sparrow on a wire, every eagle in the sky, every ecosystem shaped by ancient rules. Dinosaurs are not gone. They have simply learned to fly and to wait quietly in the background of the modern world. Lessons written in stone. What dinosaurs teach us. The story of dinosaurs is not only about the past. It is also about understanding the present and recognizing the future that quietly forms ahead. Dinosaurs ruled the earth longer than any other large land animals in history. Their success was unmatched. Yet their extinction reminds us that longevity does not equal permanence. For millions of years, dinosaurs adapted to shifting continents, changing climates, rising seas, and falling temperatures. They survived volcanic winters and long droughts. Species rose and vanished repeatedly. Evolution refined them again and again. If adaptation alone guaranteed survival, dinosaurs would still dominate the planet. But Earth is governed by forces larger than any species. The asteroid impact revealed a truth that remains relevant. Life on Earth exists within a fragile balance, vulnerable to sudden disruption. Extinction does not require failure, weakness, or error. Sometimes, it is simply the result of being present when conditions change too quickly to overcome. This understanding reshaped science. Dinosaurs taught humanity that mass extinctions are part of Earth's natural history. Life recovers, but it never returns in the same form. Each extinction clears paths for new life, but at a cost that cannot be undone. Humans now live in a world shaped by those ancient events. Mammals rose because dinosaurs fell. Ecosystems evolved in their absence. Even human intelligence exists partly because the world became smaller, quieter, and more flexible after the age of giants ended. Today, humans have become a force comparable to natural disasters. Climate shifts, habitat loss, and species extinction now occur at accelerated rates. The dinosaur story provides perspective, not as a warning filled with fear, but as a reminder of consequence. The planet does not protect dominance. It responds only to balance. Dinosaurs also teach humility. They were not foolish creatures. They were not failures. They lived according to the rules of their world, just as humans do now. Their end was not a moral lesson. It was a natural one. Earth changes. Life responds. Sometimes it cannot respond fast enough. Fossils, therefore, are not just remnants of death. They are records of existence. They tell us that life is resilient but not invincible. They show that recovery is possible, but loss is permanent. Every species that disappears takes with it a unique history that will never be repeated. When humans study dinosaurs, they are not just studying bones. They are studying time, survival, and the limits of adaptation. Dinosaurs become a mirror, not of who we were, but of what we might become if we forget that no species stands outside the laws of nature. The Earth will continue long after humans are gone, just as it continued after dinosaurs vanished. The planet does not mourn. It evolves. Understanding dinosaurs means understanding that life is both powerful and temporary. And within that truth lies the deepest lesson of all. The long goodbye. Dinosaurs and the endless story of life. The story of dinosaurs does not end with extinction, discovery, or lessons learned. It ends and begins again in the endless movement of life itself. Dinosaurs were never meant to last forever. No species is. Their purpose was not eternity, but participation in a planet that is always becoming something else. For more than 160 million years, dinosaurs lived according to the rhythms of Earth. They rose with changing climates, adapted to shifting land, and filled every space nature allowed. They were not rulers by intention, nor victims by mistake. They were life, responding moment by moment to the conditions around them. When their age ended, it did not erase their meaning. It revealed it. The disappearance of dinosaurs allowed new forms of life to emerge, but it also preserved a memory deeper than written history. Their bones became chapters in stone. Their descendants took to the skies. Their influence shaped forests, animals, and ultimately humanity itself. Every fossil uncovered is a conversation across time. It reminds us that the world we know is temporary, shaped by countless lives before us and countless lives yet to come. Dinosaurs were once as real as the ground beneath our feet, just as we are now. One day, we too will become part of Earth's memory. Dinosaurs teach us that life is not defined by its ending, but by its duration, its adaptation, and its impact. They lived fully within their world. They changed it. And when they were gone, the world continued, altered forever by their presence. When birds sing at dawn, when wings cut through air, when ecosystems balance predator and prey, dinosaurs are still here. Not as giants, not as kings, but as quiet continuations of a story that never truly stops. The Earth does not belong to any one species. It belongs to time. And somewhere beneath our feet, in layers of rock and silence, the dinosaurs remain patient, unchanging, reminding us that life is vast, fragile, and endlessly connected. Dinosaurs and deep time. Living on an alien Earth to understand dinosaurs, one must abandon the modern world entirely. The planet they inhabited was not merely an earlier version of today's Earth. It was an alien world shaped by forces unfamiliar to human experience. Continents were joined or only beginning to separate. Vast inland seas cut through land masses. Coastlines shifted slowly but relentlessly, redrawing the boundaries of life over millions of years. This was the Mesozoic Earth, a planet in motion. Mountain ranges were younger or not yet born. Deserts expanded and vanished. Forests stretched across regions that would one day become frozen poles. The idea of permanent geography did not exist. Everything moved, slowly enough to feel eternal, yet fast enough to transform the fate of species. Time itself behaved differently in the dinosaur world. Evolution was not hurried. Changes unfolded across thousands of generations. A single species might exist for millions of years with only subtle shifts in form. Dinosaurs were shaped not by urgency, but by patience, by the long negotiation between life and environment. The atmosphere during much of the dinosaur age carried higher levels of oxygen and carbon dioxide than today. This altered how bodies functioned. Large size became sustainable. Growth accelerated. Endurance increased. Dinosaurs did not grow massive by chance. The planet allowed it. Their size was a response to environmental permission. Climate was warmer overall but not uniform. Dinosaurs lived through heat waves, monsoons, dry seasons, and polar winters. In high-latitude regions, months of darkness followed months of continuous daylight. Fossil evidence shows dinosaurs adapted to these extremes, growing and surviving where modern reptiles could not. Plant life dominated the visual landscape. Towering conifers, thick fern forests, and cycads created layered ecosystems rich in shade and food. Later, flowering plants quietly spread, reshaping habitats without violence. Dinosaurs responded not with resistance but with adaptation. New teeth, new feeding behaviors, new migration patterns. Day and night passed as they do now, but the rhythm of life felt slower, heavier, more deliberate. A single dinosaur's life might span decades in a world that changed imperceptibly year to year. What humans call history, dinosaurs experienced as background. Predators and prey evolved together over immense stretches of time. There was no sudden escalation, no arms race of chaos. Each improvement in defense was met by refinement in attack. Balance was not perfect, but it was stable enough to last longer than most civilizations combined. Dinosaurs did not know they lived in deep time. They had no awareness of eras or epochs. They responded only to hunger, danger, reproduction, and survival. Yet unknowingly, they became one of the most enduring expressions of life the planet has ever produced. Their world was not primitive. It was mature. An Earth that had already survived multiple mass extinctions and learned how to rebuild itself. Dinosaurs were not early experiments. They were the result of long refinement, thriving in conditions uniquely suited to them. To imagine dinosaurs accurately is not to place modern animals into the past, but to accept that the past itself was different. Gravity felt the same, but everything else, air, land, time, and life, followed rules no longer present. This alien Earth is gone now, but its memory remains in stone, in fossils, and in the living descendants that still walk, fly, and breathe among us. Birth, growth, and death. The complete dinosaur life cycle. Every dinosaur life began in silence, sealed within an egg, hidden from the vast and dangerous world that waited outside. These eggs were not symbols of safety. They were fragile vessels of chance. Temperature, moisture, predators, floods, and time itself determined whether a life would ever begin. Most never did. Eggs varied in size and structure depending on species. Some were small and numerous, laid in clusters. Others were large and carefully arranged. Nesting sites were chosen with intention: warm ground, elevated terrain, or areas protected by vegetation. Fossilized nests show patterns, spacing, and repeated use, suggesting planning rather than instinct alone. Hatching was a moment of extreme vulnerability. Newly emerged dinosaurs entered a world where nearly everything could kill them. Their survival depended on speed, camouflage, parental protection, or immediate mobility. Some hatchlings could walk within hours. Others required care, warmth, and feeding. Fossils reveal both strategies existed, shaped by environment and risk. Growth was rapid for many species. Bone structure shows that dinosaurs often grew faster than modern reptiles, closer to birds or mammals in metabolic pace. Growth rings preserved inside fossilized bones reveal seasons of abundance and hardship. Thick rings marked years of plenty. Thin rings recorded drought, cold, or stress. Each ring was a memory of survival written into the skeleton. Adolescence was the most dangerous phase of life. Young dinosaurs were too large to hide and too small to defend themselves effectively. Predators targeted them relentlessly. This stage shaped behavior, alertness, group movement, constant learning. Many did not survive it. Those that reached adulthood entered a period of stability. Fully grown dinosaurs occupied clear ecological roles. Their bodies were optimized for feeding, reproduction, and survival. Injuries healed more slowly now, but experience compensated. Fossil bones show healed fractures, infections survived, and repeated stress endured. These animals lived hard lives and persisted. Reproduction marked maturity. Seasonal changes triggered mating behavior. Displays intensified. Crests, horns, feathers, and body size played roles in attraction and competition. These features were costly to maintain, but evolution rewarded success with continuation of lineage. Old age came gradually. Bones show wear, joint damage, reduced mobility, dental loss. Elder dinosaurs likely moved more slowly, fed less efficiently, and became vulnerable again. Death rarely came peacefully. Starvation, disease, predation, or environmental change usually ended life. Yet even in death, dinosaurs continued to shape the world. Bodies fed scavengers. Bones enriched soil. Occasionally, under rare conditions, remains were buried quickly enough to escape decay. Sediment sealed them away. Minerals replaced tissue. Time turned life into stone. Most dinosaurs left no trace. Fossils represent only a fraction of those who lived. What we know comes from survivors of chance, those caught in floods, volcanic ash, or shifting sands. Their preserved remains are not typical lives but interrupted ones. Still, through these fragments, a full cycle emerges. Dinosaurs were not eternal giants. They were born small, struggled, grew, reproduced, aged, and died, just as all animals do. Their greatness was not immortality, but endurance across unimaginable spans of time. Life for a dinosaur was not legend. It was routine, repetition, hunger, learning, injury, and persistence. And across millions of years, this cycle repeated endlessly, generation after generation, until the world itself changed faster than life could follow. Mind, memory, and instinct. What dinosaurs may have known? Dinosaurs left no written record of their thoughts. No language remains carved into stone. Yet the shape of their brains, the structure of their senses, and the patterns preserved in fossil evidence allow us to approach an understanding of how they experienced the world. Not as humans do, but as animals shaped perfectly for their time. The dinosaur mind was not primitive. Brain cavities preserved in skulls show regions dedicated to vision, balance, coordination, and smell. In many species, these areas were highly developed. Predators required precise timing and spatial awareness. Herbivores needed constant vigilance. Survival favored awareness over reflection. Memory played a critical role in dinosaur life. Migration routes were remembered across seasons. Nesting grounds were returned to year after year. Water sources were revisited during drought. These behaviors suggest long-term memory passed through learning rather than instinct alone. Young dinosaurs did not simply know where to go. They followed, observed, and learned. Instinct guided the basics: feeding, fleeing, mating. But experience refined behavior. A predator that failed repeatedly learned patience. An herbivore that survived ambush learned caution. Over time, individuals became better adapted not by evolution alone, but by lived experience within a single lifetime. Social dinosaurs likely recognized one another. Herd structures required coordination. Group movement depended on awareness of position and rhythm. Communication, through sound, posture, and display, reduced chaos and prevented unnecessary conflict. These signals were efficient, not emotional, but they carried meaning. Fear was constant. Not the abstract fear humans imagine, but a physical awareness of danger. It sharpened senses, increased reaction speed, and shaped daily decisions. Dinosaurs that ignored fear did not survive long enough to pass on their traits. Curiosity also existed, but cautiously. New environments offered opportunity and risk. A dinosaur approaching unfamiliar territory balanced hunger against danger. This decision-making process did not require complex reasoning, only a nervous system capable of weighing stimulus and response. Aggression was not constant. Fighting was costly. Injury could mean death. Most conflicts were resolved through display rather than combat. Size, color, posture, and sound communicated strength. Retreat was often the smartest choice. Parenting behaviors required recognition and attachment. Fossil evidence suggests some dinosaurs guarded nests, remained near hatchlings, and possibly fed or protected young. These actions imply more than reflex. They imply sustained behavioral investment. Dinosaurs did not wonder about existence. They did not imagine the future or remember the distant past. Their awareness existed in the present moment, guided by sensation and need. This did not make their experience lesser, only different. Emotion in the dinosaur world was functional. Stress triggered alertness. Calm allowed feeding. Aggression protected resources. These internal states were tools, refined by evolution, not distractions from survival. The dinosaur mind was neither simple nor complex by human standards. It was sufficient, perfectly matched to a world where speed, awareness, and memory mattered more than contemplation. Understanding dinosaur cognition does not humanize them. It respects them. It allows us to see dinosaurs not as moving fossils or living machines, but as animals, aware, responsive, and shaped by the same natural forces that shape life today. If dinosaurs had survived, roads not taken by time, history often feels inevitable, but evolution is not. The extinction of dinosaurs was not a planned conclusion, it was an interruption. If the asteroid had missed Earth by a small margin, the story of life would have unfolded along a radically different path. To imagine that path is not fantasy. It is an exercise in understanding how chance shapes destiny. Dinosaurs were not static creatures frozen in one form. They were already changing rapidly by the end of the Cretaceous period. Feathers were spreading. Body sizes were diversifying. Social behavior was becoming more complex. Intelligence, while not human-like, was increasing in certain lineages. These trends suggest that dinosaurs were far from evolutionary limits. Had they survived, dinosaurs would not have remained giants dominating open plains forever. Environmental pressures would have favored smaller, more adaptable forms in many regions. Forests would have encouraged agility. Changing climates would have rewarded flexibility over sheer size. Some lineages may have grown lighter, faster, and more cognitively complex. Feathers, already widespread, might have become universal. Insulation, display, and flight are powerful advantages. Flight opens access to new food sources, escape routes, and habitats. Birds are evidence of this success. In an unbroken dinosaur lineage, flight may have expanded beyond what we see today, producing a sky filled with diverse, intelligent flyers descended directly from non-avian dinosaurs. On land, social structures could have deepened. Herd coordination might have grown more intricate. Communication systems could have become more nuanced. Selection does not aim for intelligence, but when awareness improves survival, it persists. Over millions of years, modest gains compound. Mammals in this alternate world would likely have remained small and marginal. Without the ecological vacuum left by dinosaur extinction, mammals would have struggled to expand into dominant roles. Large brains are expensive. Without opportunity, intelligence does not flourish. Humanity, as we know it, would almost certainly never have existed. This does not mean dinosaurs would have become human-like. Evolution does not repeat outcomes. It explores possibilities. Dinosaur intelligence, if it increased, would have taken forms shaped by their bodies, senses, and environments, not by hands or language as humans understand them. Ecosystems would have remained structured around reptile-dominated megafauna. Forests would be shaped by different grazers. Predation strategies would differ. The planet would feel familiar in physics but alien in life. This alternate future reminds us of a crucial truth. The present is not the best of all possible worlds. It is simply the one that happened. Life does not aim toward progress. It responds to circumstance. Dinosaurs were not obsolete. They were interrupted by chance. Given time, they would have continued to evolve, just as mammals did after their disappearance. The path of evolution is not a ladder. It is a branching tree, and many branches were cut short. Imagining dinosaurs surviving is not about regret. It is about recognizing the role of randomness in shaping existence. A single event reshaped the fate of every large animal on Earth, including ourselves. The world we live in is only one version among countless unrealized possibilities.